So good evening, everyone. Welcome to the adult class, Friday evening adult class. I hope all of you are having a good week and a peaceful week wherever you are. So before we start the commencings this week, can I call upon Parul please to deliver the Naukar mantra, and then we'll start with the announcements and then over to Hinaben. So over to you, Parul.
If we can close our eyes and put our hands in a prayer position. Namo Arahataram, Namo Namo, Namo Sitaram, Namo Namo, Namo Ayariyaram, Namo Namo, Namo Uttaradhyana, Namo Namo, Namo Loya Savasahuram, Namo Loya Savasahuram, Eso Panchanamukara, Savapava Parashara, Mangalaranja Sarvesim, Patamang Havai Mangalam, Patamang Havai Mangalam, Patamang Havai Mangalam.
Thank you, Parul for that lovely recitation of the Naukar mantra. Thank you. So, warm welcome to everyone. Before I hand over to Hinaben to deliver this evening's talk on chapter 20 of the Uttaradhyana Sutra on Nirgranth, today, just want to make a couple of announcements and just to have a minute's silence as well. Minute silence basically for peace everywhere. In particular, we remember all the people in Ukraine and worldwide, wherever there's strife. This week, we also bid farewell to a colossus figure in the Jain community, Dr. Nathubai Shah, the founder and the developer of the Kolindale Derasar, which I believe is near enough complete. So if everyone can join hands, close their eyes just for 1 minute, minute silence, and then I'll hand over to Hinaben. Thank you everyone for the peaceful 1 minute. Now over to Hinaben to deliver this evening's talk. Hinaben, over to you.
I pay my homage to Lord Arhan Prabhu and bow down to respected Acharya Ji and all the Sadhvi Ji. Dear sisters and brothers, Jai Jinendra, good evening. We welcome you this evening. As you know, we are discussing some very inspiring stories from Lord Mahavir's last sermon, which is compiled in Uttaradhyana Sutra. So now today we are looking at chapter number 20. It is the name of the chapter is Mahavir Granthiya. Now, so it deals with praxis and conduct of a great ascetic and related basic principles, meaning. So now what I would like to first of all clarify is the meaning of Mahavir Granthiya. Maha means great, we all know, and Nirgrantha means Muni, Sadhu. Now, who are these Muni and Sadhu? An occupant of the highest limb, those Muni and Sadhu are the occupant of the highest limb of our fourfold Sangha, who is without any bonds, which is very important. They have to be without any bonds, mentally, physically, and verbally. So another way, it means freedom from all ties and hindrances. Granthi means tie. Any type of ties we have is Granthi, is called Granthi. And they have to be free from all those ties. Especially mentally is very important. as their mind has to be very clean and clear without any previous thoughts and definitions of about anything. Otherwise, they are not going to, once they become muni, they are not going to absorb what is going to be preached to them if they have the previous granthis, previous ties in their mind. That is why they're mentally, they have to be very, very clean and clear. And why is that so? Because when they are going to be preached, if they have any type of granthis in their mind, then they are not going to absorb what they are going to be taught, what they are going to be told. So those granthis are very, very important. So Nirgrantha is negative. So without any ties is called Nirgrantha. So Mahanirgrantha, great Nirgrantha. So the first half begins with a dialogue between King Shreni and ascetic Anathi Muni. And the second half of the chapter talks about who are the real Mahanirgrantha. Okay, so before I go in the story, I would just like you all to one second. Right now. Before I go into the story, I would like you all to just please think on this thing. Are we orphan, anath, or are we guardian? I really don't want your feedback or your responses or your answers. I just want you to think on this only for half a minute, and then I will go into the story. Again, I will give you another half a minute in between to think if you have changed your mind onto this. So here, I'm just going to give you half a minute and think, are we orphan or are we guardian? Thank you. I'm sure everybody must have thought about it. And so now I would just like to start with a story. So one day, King Shreni, he was a king of Magad, went for a morning walk in Mandakukshi garden in outskirts of Rajgrahi city. There he saw a young ascetic engrossed in meditation. The king was amazed at this matchless beauty, tenderness, and charm. When ascetic opened his eyes on concluding his meditation, the king asked, I am sorry to disturb your sadhana, Muniraj. I do not know you and I have never seen you before, but I am anxious to know about you. I am curious to know what motivated you to become an ordained monk at such a young age. Youth are more interested in fun and games. They look forward to getting married and starting a family. However, you have chosen a hard spiritual path. Why? I am sorry to intrude in your sadhana, but I couldn't help myself. So here is the king is passing by, and see, as you can see in the picture, he's passing by this Muni, and he is just so amazed to see he was very smart looking, and he thought at this young age, why has he become Muni? So he's asking. So the monk replied, no need to apologize. I was miserable and helpless, orphan. That is anath. He said, I was anath. Therefore, decided to take the ascetic path, which has been always preached by our hunters. So normally, when you are like, if you are very sad and if it's sansari life and if you have a lot of misfortunes, then one becomes Muni, but that is not good, because that is like, you are taking the ascetic path just because you are tired and you are fed up of the sansari life, but that is not the way to become Muni. And king definitely thought that it must be one of those things that he has become Muni. And that is why king is posing this question to the monk. But the monk is saying, I am Anath. And king was shocked to hear that such a royal looking person was actually an orphan. Quite frankly, king did not believe him. He assumed that a helpless orphan would look different. His face will reveal his hardships and ordeals. This young man, on the other hand, looked poised and calm, as if he was brought up with love, care, and culture in a royal or at least a well-off family. This boy could not be an orphan. This is what king thought. And so the king asked and said to Muniraj, "Oh Muniraj, I find it difficult to accept that you could be an orphan. In any case, being an orphan does not mean that no one can help you and you have to become a monk. Come with me. I will be your guardian and see that my wealth fulfills your wishes." So here the king is thinking, why? There's no need for you to become a Muni if you are orphan, although you don't look like it, but then there is no need for you. I will help you. As you all know, King Shrenik was very well known for all his wealth and how he used to help people and everything. So here again, he's offering his help to this Muniraj. But the monk said, "Excuse me, but you too are an orphan. How can an orphan become guardian?" So the king was taken back by his remark and a little bit frustrated as well. So he said to Muniraj, "Perhaps you do not know who I am. I am Emperor Shrenik of Magad. I have the fortunes and riches of the world. How dare you call me an orphan?" The monk was calm and composed. He said, "I am sorry, my dear Emperor, but you misunderstood me. Perhaps my understanding of the two terms, orphan and guardian, is different than yours." Raja Shrenik asked him to explain the meaning of these two terms, because normally we understand what is guardian and orphan. So, but this looked like something different. So he asked Muniraj to explain to him. So Muniraj said to Maharaja, as you can see in the picture, "I was born in a very wealthy merchant family in Kosambi city. I was brought up with lots of love and affection. When I grew young, I was married to a beautiful woman who also came from a noble, wealthy family. My wife and I lived happily with my parents. One day, I suddenly developed a terrible pain in my eyes. My father lavishly spent money on my treatment. Many physicians and experts of mantra and tantra gave the best of treatments. Everyone tried to soothe my pain. Well-known medical experts were summoned from faraway places, but were unable to stop my pain. We tried many options, but nothing worked. My parents, my wife, my brothers and sisters took really good care of me, but no one could reduce the agony that I was going through." In fact, in the Uttaradhyana Sutra, in the story, there are 3 stanzas about his wife, how his wife was, that she was very very faithful, never stayed away from him, and she stopped eating as well as stopped beautifying herself with any products as she saw how much pain he was in. Also his sisters, they came from their in-laws and they tried all their best to rescue him, but nobody could help him. So, "O king," then he says, "So, O king, that was my state of being unguarded. At that point, I realized that I was truly an orphan after everybody trying their best. A true guardian would have guarded and shielded me under all circumstances from such pain. So this is how he explains to the king. Now, at that point, I was thinking, I thought our body and soul are two different entities. So this is what Muniraj is thinking at that time when he was going through this pain and nobody could help him. He is saying to king that at that point, I was thinking, I thought our body and our soul are two different entities. The body reacts to external events by generating responses such as pain and pleasure. However, the soul wants and can be trained to be aloof of these responses. A free soul is a mere observer of these responses. It does not experience or feel pain or pleasure. And at that point, I decided that if I get better, then I would like to renounce this world. That night, I slept comfortably. When I woke up in the morning, my pain was gone. I concluded that this was the result of my awakening to the reality of my soul. It was a glimpse of what can happen if soul is free from the imprisonment in a physical body. A pure free soul will then be ruler, not a prisoner of this body. The blissful soul will always be generating pleasure. So far, I was an orphan, but now I have found my guardian. I knew I must follow ascetic path to learn how to liberate my soul. My dear emperor, being helpless is, in a true sense, being an orphan. Such a helplessness is because of our dependence on our body and its external trappings. And overcoming this dependence is possible. However, to choose to ignore this message and not to become ascetic leads to even greater helplessness. We are all orphans as long as our soul is the prisoner of our body. Such an imprisoned soul suffers immense pain. Our liberated soul, however, becomes the body's ruler and is our true guardian. No more are we orphans. So let us understand the meaning of, so this is why he was called Anati Muni. So the two different words, Sanat and Anat, that is guardian and orphan. So according to this Muniraj, Sanat, that is guardian, those who can protect themselves as well as others are called Sanat, and Anat, that is orphan, those who neither can protect themselves nor can they get rid of grief. So this is what Muniraj meant about guardian and orphan. So King Shrenik understood the real meaning of guarded and unguarded and accepted righteousness. After the story, this story, from this story, it gives us the idea of who is guardian and who is orphan. This is how this is how he was called Anaki Muni as well. Now, the story, the chapter continues. Of course, as you know, the story ends. After the story, this chapter continues into second part of Anaki Muni's preaching, and many stanzas are about even after one renounces how their life should be. So this is not the only way that one can be Anati. Even if you renounce, then also there are ways that one can be Anat as well, which we are going to look into it. But during this story, in the actual chapter, there are a lot of stanzas. So obviously I have not taken stanzas by stanzas. I have just told you the story. Now, there are two stanzas that I think are really important to talk about. So let's look into those two stanzas. So the stanza number 36 says, Apparna I Veyarani, Appame Kudasamali, Appa Kamaduhadenu, Appame Nandanam Vanam. So what does this mean? It means it is my own soul that is Vaitarni river, Kut Samali tree, Kamadhenu and Nandanvan. So Kamadhenu is the name of the cow and Nandanvan, that is the forest. Now let's understand first of all those four words. And this is the main message of the chapter. If we understand there are two stanzas, 36 and 37, and if we understand these two stanzas, is the gist of the chapter. And I think it is the gist of Jainism as well. If we take these two slokas away, then spirituality will become void, I think. The great secret has been revealed in these two slokas by Muni, and these are said by Muni. So these two slokas only contain the whole spirituality. That's why they are very useful to understand and contemplate on, really worth in fact memorizing as well. So Kamdenu, maybe some of you don't know the meaning of Kamdenu, but Kamdenu is a miraculous cow, and this cow, you know, whatever you ask for, she will provide you with. Okay, so that is why it is called Kamdenu. It's a miraculous cow of plenty who provides her owner whatever he desires, and it is often portrayed as the mother of the cattle. Kamdenu is stated to have her residence in Golok, Patal, in addition to the hermitage of the sage. So really, Kamdenu, we have to take this as like it provides whatever you ask for, the owner asks for, okay? And it is as you can see in the picture, this is a picture of a cow. It's a white, beautiful cow, okay? And then Nandanvan. Now, Nandanvan is a very beautiful forest. I've just taken the picture from the internet, but it looks like it's a beautiful forest, and that forest is in on the top of Mount Meru. You all know Mount Meru. There are some beautiful forests and everything there. So it is that Nandanvan. Now, Put Samali Vruksha means is the tree, that tree which is in hell, and that by that tree, if somebody passes at least or touches the leaf of that tree, it can cut a person's body. It is that horrible. It is so horrible to look at, not only to look at, but it does do a lot of damage as well if you ever go nearby. Okay, and Vaitarni Nadi is in hell as well, and this Nadi means river. So this river is not normal river that you and me see, the plain water that passing by with like a very calm water. But this Vaitarni Nadi, the river in hell, you see it's the blood flowing in this river, and it is a lot of impurities in that river. Okay, so here it's been our soul is compared to that. It is our own soul that is Vaitarni. So it is up to us. Do we want to make our soul like Vaitarni river or Put Samali tree, as I say, those two horrible things which are in hell? Or do we want to make our soul as per Kamdenu, so that we want to make our soul and it obeys to what we want, how we want, and we want to take out its real virtues Is that what we want? And Nandan one. So we want to make with that beautiful soul, we want to make our life beautiful, like a Nandan one, like a beautiful forest. So this is what it is saying, that it is totally our soul, and it is up to us how we want to make our soul. Yeah, and that is why it's compared to those four things. And the next stanza, number 37, is again Appakatta vikattaya duhanaya suhanaya appamittam cha dupattiya supattiyo. Now this stanza means this soul itself is the doer and non-doer of joy and miseries. When indulging in noble intents, the soul is one's friend. And when indulging in ignoble intents, the soul is one's foe. As you can see, how peacefully one can take out all our soul's virtues by meditating, by knowing the real soul and its properties. Or we can be like this and we can indulge into all the wrong activities. Yeah, so it is all down to us. And you know what, here it reminds me of Atma Siddhi, which is written by Srimad Rajchandra. And again, in there, the stanza number 43, it again talks about the same thing. The stanza goes like, Atma che te nitya che karata nij karma, che bhoktavari moksha che, moksha upaya sudharma. So here again, Rajchandra ji is talking about how is our soul, what is our soul. And he's again trying to say the same thing. This is translated as like soul exists, it is eternal, it is a doer of its karma, it is enjoyer, and it is and sufferer of its karma. That's very important. This is what exactly it's trying to say in this stanza as well. So, and it says liberation exists and means that and there are means to liberation as well. So in this stanza again, Srimad Rajchandra ji is saying the soul exists. So we all know that the soul appears the same as the body due to the illusory identification with the body, but both are distinct like a sword and its shape. So it is of the nature of pure consciousness. Now, the second thing is trying to say the soul is eternal. Knowledge of the birth and death of the body cannot arise unless the entity experiencing the knowledge is different from the object. Nothing can create or destroy the soul. Thus, it is eternal. Now, third and fourth thing he's saying is exactly the same as we saw in this stanza, that if the soul is the doer of karma, if the soul remains conscious of its true self, it acts in tune with its nature. If it does not remain conscious of its true self, it becomes the doer of karma. The body or lifeless matter has no capability to acquire karma. The soul is the acquirer of the karmic bondage. See, here it comes. It's our activities, yes, that decides what we want. And then the fourth thing he's saying, the soul is the bearer of consequences. Poison and nectar have no understanding to affect anyone, but one who consumes them gets affected. Similarly, the soul bears the consequences of its meritorious or unmeritorious karma. God does not give the fruits of its actions. So one has to be very careful on their actions. And then, of course, he says the soul can be liberated and there is a path to the soul's liberation. So Srimad Rajchandraji is saying exactly the same thing here. And these two stanzas are as I say, they are the gist of the whole chapter. It's our soul, it's our karmas, how we do it, and how we want to bring out the true qualities of our soul. It all depends on us. It's not the karmic pudgal that is that are doing anything to us. It is us who are binding the karma with all the having all the kashais, and that is why we have to bear all the fruits. Okay, so thus I thought I would just like to discuss these two stanzas, giving us the most valuable message, as it is our soul that we need to train and realize. So, and then we go into this second half of the chapter. Here again, Muniraj is talking about it is not only renouncing the world makes you sanat or guardian. It is how you live your life even after living the sansari life. And for that reason, he is saying it's like that is another state of being unprotected, and how one can it's like even after accepting the ascetic life, if one remains disturbed even after accepting ascetic conduct and go astray, then he is again anath, careless in observing the 5 Mahavrats, Samitis, and Guptis. So why is he saying all this? Is because sometimes if there are some munis, they think, okay, I have done the best thing, what is necessary. I have given up the sansar, I am a muni, that's it, I've done my job. And what happens? They become lazy. They do not follow their rules and regulations. And they just like, because they have become muni, of course, they are being fed, they are given their necessity, the main necessity of their life. So, and that is how they live. They do not do any tap or they do not follow any rules, and that is why they become careless. And if they become careless in observing their Mahavrats, those 5 Mahavrats, Samitis, Guptis, then again they are anath, they are not sanat, even though they have taken diksha or they have given up the sansar. Same, careless in observing finances and rules of saints, same thing. Now, as I say, there are quite a few slokas in this chapter, but I have just taken the very basic thing, what it's all trying to say. So again, it says using muni vesh, means just use like, once you renounce the world, you again, in Jain, of course, we take this Rajoharan and then we wear the white clothes and everything. So using that muni vesh and Rajoharan just fulfill his basic requirements. What happens? If you see a Muniraj, you are obviously Sansari people are going to offer them food, clothes, and everything. So sometimes it just so happens that they become very sort of relaxed, and they think, okay, everything is coming, and they just are using those muni vesh just to fulfill their basic requirements. Again, religion contaminated with sensuality is like consumed poison, weapon, held, inverted, and uncontrolled evil spirit. Okay, what happens if we have a knife? If we hold it the other way, does it do any work? No, in fact, it's harmful, isn't it? Same way, if we consume poison, so it is like that when somebody has taken the diksha, but if they are using that muni vesh, if they are using their status just to relax, then again they are anath, they are not sanat. And sometimes uncontrolled evil spirit, because after they have become, what they do is they get some sort of labdhi, as we call it, and they use it for some very bad reasons. So again, they are not sanat, they are anat. And those who survive on using fortune telling, sometimes what happens, they use their loved ones to say the fortunes, and if that fortune, even they can see or not, but with their waist, with their dressing, people believe, and that is how they make, sometimes they make money, or sometimes they say, like, you know, they point out some symbols you see on people's body, and they say, oh, these symbols are, so it's called Lakshan Shastra, so that will bring you fortune. So some saints are doing all this, but they are in reality not sanat, they are anat. They are not guardian, but they are all wrong, they are anat. And also sometimes accepting forbidden alms, what happens, they become sadhu, but again, they have not controlled their five senses. They feel like eating some good food, they feel like, you know, eating all like the things which they are not supposed to. So what they do, they start accepting those forbidden alms. And of course, you know, when they do all this, sometimes nobody is there to check on them, and they can be, they get relaxed, and this is how they do not follow what they are supposed to follow. So again, those people are anat, they are not sanat. So such unrighteous ascetic becomes a pervert due to his own dense darkness of ignorance, and after transgressing the ascetic code, he is trapped in the cycle of rebirths and infernal world and suffers miseries forever. He is harming his own soul worse than the cutthroat enemy. He is neither in the sansar nor in the ascetic world, just like that dog on the આપણે કહીને કે ઓલો ધોબીનો કૂતરો ના ઘરનો અને ના ઘાટનો. In the same way, they are neither in sansar and they are not in the ascetic world either. Now, having heard all this wisdom, real aspirant abandons the path of all disgraced ascetic and follows the path of great accomplished ascetic to achieve liberation. So they have to be again very careful in how they follow this path. Now, so in short, the ascetic anati-aided, simply donning ascetic garb does not make you guarded. In fact, the ascetic who are malignant with feelings of attachment, aversion, mundane pleasure, and comforts are also unguarded, means they are all orphan. Only those ascetics who are steadfast in their faultless ascetic conduct are truly guarded. That is why, again, if you look at so many other chapters in this Uttaradhyayana Sutra, it talks at large and describes the duty of all renowned saints, that how they should be living their life. Almost all the chapters, they talk about it at length, because this is another danger. Sometimes one can become saint, but they do not follow the path properly. So they should not feel that now they have renounced and the moksha is definite for them. It is not. They have to follow the path properly as well. So in the end, after explaining all this, Anati Muni was totally absorbed in Municharya, following strictly all the rules for Muni, and was flying like a free bird and was in total sannyas. So Anati Muni, although he is called Anati, but he was following this path very well, and he was doing all the Municharya, and he became like he became free, and he was on his way to moksha. And King Shrenik understood the real meaning of guarded and unguarded and accepted righteousness. Also asked for forgiveness to disturb his meditation. So now, and Samrat Shrenik was following Buddhism until he met Anati Muni. he was so encouraged by Muni that he accepted Jain Dharma. Whole of his family accepted Jain Dharma, and then he was so impressed with Dev Guru Dharma that he bound Tirthankar Gotra Karma, and he is going to be the first Tirthankar in the coming ascending time cycle with the name of Padmanabh. So this is today's story, and so I would now ask you to review your thought on what do you think? Are you open, oh guardian? Again, I do not want your responses as yet. Just think after listening to the story, what do you think? Okay, now whichever way you have thought, we are going to look at some beautiful thoughts on how to become a better guardian. So let us think on them. How can one become guardian? So, you know, Jainism talks about bar bhavna, if you all know, they are called reflections. Yeah, to make room for pure thoughts and to drive out the evil ones. Jainism recommends to reflect or meditate on the 12 thoughts of bhavnas. So what are these bhavnas? So Jain religion puts a significant emphasis on the thought process of a human being. These 12 bhavnas are the subject matter of one's meditation and how to occupy one's mind with useful, religious, beneficial, peaceful, harmless, spiritually advancing, karma-preventing thoughts. They cover a wide field of teaching of Jainism. They are designed to serve as aid to spiritual progress, produce detachment, and lead the aspirants from the realm of desire to the path of renunciation. So they are reflections upon the fundamental facts of life, intended to develop purity of thought and sincerity in the practice of religion. You must have all heard about these 12 reflections, and that is why we put so much stress on these 12 bhavna. These bhavnas are a really good way of contemplating and knowing your own soul. So these reflections are also called anuprekshas, or longings, or thoughts, or aspirations, or bhavnas, whatever, whichever, but they are all the same. But another thing, just to contemplate on these 12 bhavnas is not enough. The underlying principle are to be to put them in practice. That is more important. So normally, even after renouncing, most of the sadhus and sadhvis keep on contemplating on this, on these bhavnas, which helps them to be on the path of spirituality. Now, the importance of these contemplations too is the meditation, and so these bhavnas results in detachment in worldly matters, which in turn results in equanimity. With equanimity, passions are eliminated, resulting in mental purity, and that way, finally, it culminates into the knowledge of self. Furthermore, all these 12 bhavnas, contemplations, are also one of the reasons for stoppage of influx, which is very important. It stops the influx of karma, which is we say ashram, and as they regulate our thoughts and physical actions. And for that reason, these bhavnas are very, very important. They help us in purifying our thoughts. And this probably was the case in Anatha Muni's life. As we feel that he must have contemplated on one of the, we don't have time to contemplate, to talk about all 12, but we will, I think this is very good reflection that he must have thought about. So there is this one reflection, it's Usher and Downa, which is like no one provides protection. That is what it means. So we have to take shelter in our own self. Example of Anati Muni, and it shows that he was in pain and he thought of this. Usher and Downa refers to contemplation on the fact that no one in this world can provide protection against suffering or death. Everyone needs to be self-radiant. Okay, so this Bhavana reflects the fact that nothing and nobody can protect you. Here are, and if we look at some of the examples, you must have heard of Martin Luther King. He was well-known Black civil rights activist in America. Despite the good causes he was fighting for and number of followers he had, he was still assassinated. Nothing could protect him from death. And same goes for Mother Teresa. How many people prayed for her? Still, when the time comes, nothing, no prayers could even help her. No, and this is what happens. Again, we all have heard of Sikandar as well on the other side of the, the character, that there are so many like that, that when the time comes, it's nobody. Sikandar had so much money, so much military and everything. Nothing could save him. He had to go with empty-handed. Yeah. So this is why this reflection, the fact that with even the best intentions and wishes, we cannot protect others, and each being must endure their own karmas. Now, what is the good in knowing and accepting this Bhavana? Well, once we endure the karmas that we have bound, as long as we take care to not acquire more, we will only need to shed what we have gathered already. So then, with the help of a self-realized soul, we will be well on the way attaining moksha, which is everlasting bliss. So everyone needs to be self-reliant. The only way one can conquer death and suffering is by destroying all his karmas and taking refuge in the true path of religion as shown by Tirthankara. So this is with this reflection, it comes down to how we can at least stop our karmas, because at the end, that we only have to protect our own soul. Yes, the money, fame, friends, relatives, none of this can come to rescue and change the inevitable. So Asara Bhavana thus conveys that one should contemplate on how and why no one can give protection or save one's life. Okay, so Anati Muni must have contemplated on this Bhavana at the time when he was ill, and that is how he realized that he only can be sanat of his soul by following the path of Muni. And now, so I would like to just summarize that determination invokes the strength. He was so determined that while he was going through pain, that if I get better, this is what I will do, because he realized with this contemplation that I only can be the protector of my own soul. Okay, so it is the determination that invokes the strength. Now, the point we can take is by understanding the religion and accepting restrained life, one not only becomes his own guardian, but for the rest of the living beings too. So if one does not live the restrained life as accepted and becomes lazy, lapses all the rules, then he or she become orphan and cannot protect his own soul from misfortunes. If one feels like an orphan, that nothing or no one from this sansar will help me to get rid of my pain or grief, then contemplate on the root that causes karma and its fruit. So again, it boils down to the karma. As long as we are in sansar, the less karma we bind, then we are more towards the path of moksha, toward the liberation. Okay, so now here I would just like to again ask you, what do you think we all are, orphan or guardian? Now at this point, if one of or anyone, whoever would like to give me their opinion, please.
If people would like to turn on their cameras, that would be good. And then just make your comments, have a chat with Hinaben. Rajubhai, you put your hand up.
Jai Jinendra Badaine. Listening to this, and like that's the time when you so like say, and you build up a little bit of courage, and you say, yes, this is what I'm going to do. Say in my case, like sometimes you say, okay, this is the prayers I'm going to say every day, and then you do it for a period of time, but suddenly I don't know, but you find that start making a bit lax in that, and then after a while like you do on and off sort of thing, and then once we again join something like this, and you say, oh yeah, I'm not doing it, and then so you find that constantly you are sort of like if you like taking a step back as well.
Yes, that is true, Rajibhai, but good to know, positive, that you are still trying, you understand the reality, you are trying to go on that path. Lapse is always going to happen. As I said, even the sadhus, once they become sadhu, they lapse. So we are still sansari. So it is possible that we can lapse on such thing. But the main thing is that we are keeping on the path. We know the truth. We know the true nature of the soul, and we are working towards it. Although we have not realized, but by listening, by reading, by whatever it is, you have that faith that by you doing these prayers and doing this or any religious activities, it is good for your soul, and you are going to keep up with it. That is, you have won half the battle, I would say.
Yeah, like now and then you feel that like, oh, you feel quite bad about it, saying, oh, I'm not following it properly, and then you start, but like again, like, so I don't know whether that's just part and parcel, I suppose, of you just have to make the effort and build up the determination. Like Anant Muni, he must have so like at that time, build up a lot of determination to so like really pursue it.
Yes. So that the next story, when we talk about, you will see why this does not come to us, and it happens to some other people. Like we look at one situation, and all the people, they react differently. Why? Like Anati Muni reacted like this when he was ill. You and me must have fallen ill so many times. We probably were serious so many times, or some other people we have seen, and still we do not become like him. That's what you're trying to say.
Yes.
But that is, I don't know if you know those two words, upadan and nimit. Until આપણું ઉપાદાન રેડી ન હોય ત્યાં સુધી જ્યાં આપણને ગમે એટલા નિમિત્ત મળશે, પણ આપણામાં આવા ચેન્જીસ જે આ મુનિના લાઈફમાં આવ્યા છે એ નહીં આવે. So basically those are the two main things that Jainism talks about, Nimit and Upadan. So I would say, having said that, we do not have to, we have to keep on trying, you know. આપણે આપણા બધા જે પુરુષાર્થ છે એ નથી મૂકવાના. We have to keep on working at it. And okay, today you are lapsed, sometimes you lapse, sometimes you keep going and things like that. But one day you will get there. So, you know, Anati Muni's mind was at that level, but that deep down, he must have had those religious thoughts and those background from long time in his mind, and that prepares you to take that path when the actual thing happens, when you get actual nimi, when like something has to happen and it triggers you, you know. And in very simple like in today's life and day, we are sometimes we burn our fingers and then you decide, okay, that's it, now on, I'm not going to do it, this one particular thing. But some people are, even if they have burned their finger, they keep going to the same thing again. Yeah. So yes, this is what it is. Our upadan, apna je purusharth, is not good enough to change our the whole scenario. But if we keep trying, if we keep doing the purusharth, one day we become like them, and then something will happen and we will suddenly change and become like him. And I pray to God for that. Anybody else?
So Hinaben, I think what Rajubai is saying, actually his awareness of not doing is just as powerful as actually, you know, just completely continuing. But that awareness is very, very good. So yeah, well done, Rajubai. That's good.
Okay.
All right, we've only got a minute or two. So if there's any other comments, please. Rashmi Ben, I believe you put your hand up.
Jai Jinendra. I was thinking that as Rajubai said, it is difficult. But COVID hatu ane, you know, everybody was at home, so that was and Zoom was there, and you guys did a really great job, and that really helped me in following Jainism, because before I wasn't too keen. There were other things that I could do, but because of this, I have actually started following Jainism.
Very good. So you are on that path now.
Yes, and two of my friends, Rasila and Jyotsna, they helped me follow it as well during the COVID times. So that really helped.
Yeah, excellent. So this is coming with the experience, isn't it? And it is, yes, again, I would say, like, you know, to follow something after understanding, it's much more effective than just following blindly. Just because other people are doing it, I am doing it.
That's right.
You understand it, then you follow it. Yeah, and that is the main thing. You follow it after understanding. Okay, so I'd like to conclude my talk. As I said, I asked you. So in Acharyaji Channaji's book, Walk With Me, it quotes that we are all orphan as long as our soul is the prisoner of our body. Such an imprisoned soul suffers immense pain. Our liberated soul, however, becomes the body's ruler and is our true guardian. No more we are orphans. Therefore, dear sisters and brothers, let us all work and pray towards being our own guardian. So I thank you all, and if any other questions, we will take it. Otherwise, we will end our session today. Jai Jinendra, and thank you all for listening to me. And if I have said anything against Jinagna, then I say Michami Dukkaram. Thank you.
So Hinaben, before we conclude, if you can do the closing prayer, the Manglik, please, that would be great. And then I'll do the final announcements.
Thank you, Sandipai. Chattari Mangalam, Arihanta Mangalam, Siddha Mangalam, Sahu Mangalam, Kevali Panato Tamo Mangalam, Chattari Logutama, Arhanta Logutama, Siddha Logutama, Sahu Logutama, Kevali Panato Tamo Logutamo, Chattari Sharanam Pavachami, Arhante Sharanam Pavachami, Site Sharanam Pavachami, Sahu Sharanam Pavachami, Kevali Panatam Tammam Sharanam Pavachami, Pavachami. Jai Jinendra.
Thank you so much, Hinaben. A wonderful session again today, and well delivered and explained by you. Thank you all for turning up this evening. Just a quick announcement, those who didn't watch our historic program last Sunday to celebrate Taima's achievement of the Padma Shri Award, please, you can now watch it on YouTube. It's there on the SCVP Sri Chandna Vidyapith channel, YouTube channel. Please subscribe to that. You can watch it on there. It's a wonderful program with compliments from many Jain leaders globally, some lovely music, and of course, recitation by Taima herself, Sadhuji Shilapaji, and Sadhuji Sangmitraji as well. On that note, we look forward to seeing you all again same time next Friday. Jai Jinendra, Shubhratri, and stay safe. Thank you.